Oh, hey, quick pop in here. I'm Mike.
Now I'm Tom.
We are the first, the last Nerdom. And this is a kind of an interstitial for a very cool day that we have promoted over the years, doing our thing here. Let me turn on our thing. But first, I am Mike and Tom, and we do this little thing called the first, the last Nerdom. Primarily on YouTube is where you can find us, and you can find our ever growing back catalog, 193 and growing. And then we have our Twitter X department, head up by Tim or Tom. Excuse me. Good God,
Who's
I
who's
can't.
this Tim guy?
Yeah. What? Mike, what are you talking about, dude? Who have you been talking to? No, I'm kidding. But
Yes,
uh,
this is we just hired Tim Pool. Everybody, no,
right,
I'm just kidding.
yeah.
Uh,
Temple approves of our right to First Amendment speech.
yeah.
He would not disagree with that. I don't know if he would sponsor us, but whatever. But anyway, all joking aside, you can also find me, Mike ML, on ApeIt.Ink, as well as a really cool thing like where you can find me and Tom hereabouts. There, I need to add your Twitter, but in any case, we are coming in, and we're not going to hide the bury the lead here, but we are going to talk about. Something that we have promoted over the course of the last few years, for year one, year two, year three, as we go
Mhm.
on. Comic Book Day, where you tell us a little bit about that. What that means. What does it mean for a free comic book day?
Well, it's a day where everybody goes to the comic book shop to get a free comic book. A lot of them, the cynical people will say people will go in to grab something to sell it on eBay at a higher price for a price later
You
on.
can
But
do that. That's
uh,
allowed. Yeah.
but yeah, it's sort of like kind of a free promotion, a promotion of comic books. It started probably a little more than a decade ago or so, I
Hmm.
think. But yeah, it's basically they have a set of comic books that they have for free,
Hmm.
and then most comic book shops will uh, give a discount that day for almost all of their comics. I think for brand new comic books, usually they're regular price, but everything else is usually got a discount in the store. I know mine, Kapow Comic Books. Shout out to them in Sherwood, Arkansas. They do I think they do like 20 or 25% off of most of their trade paperbacks, and they have a bunch of toys and stuff, vintage toys that they sell. But
Oh,
they also have, but yeah, other places do different things. So you'll have to maybe call and check with your local comic book shop, see what they're doing if they are in fact celebrating them. I know there's a YouTuber, a fellow YouTuber online with us, the Comic Palace, Glenn, who
oh
ran into a
yes.
little bit of a controversy a few months back, but he doesn't do comic book day. He thinks that everybody that comes in aren't really comic book people. They're just looking for a free comic book. So he does order them, but he gives them to his local library to
Oh
hand
well, good
out.
for him.
So yeah, I think that he still does something for it. But yeah, that's cool.
Mhm.
However you want
I
to
respect that.
celebrate it. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
disagree, but I commend him for actually, money where his mouth is, and actually do something, not just criticize something, but actually do something he that is good for him. But I was going to say too, if this is a perfect opportunity too, you don't have to be a die in the wool comic book person.
Hmm.
That's the beauty of this thing. This thing is to invite people in, new people. And this is a prime example. I remember doing this with my kiddos when they were younger, much younger, way before I ever thought about doing podcasts or whatever, what we
Hmm.
do here. But this is a great point. Like if you bring your friend, and just go make a day of it, or make it a lunch date.
Hmm.
Go out and hit up the comic book scene, see what you see. Maybe spend a few dollars, maybe don't. But you're always like, if you go in with fresh eyes, you're gonna try to, hopefully, you should try to, I guess, for lack of better things, like hopefully you have a good comic book clerk or owner, um, and you can say, I'm familiar with this, I would like to know more about that. Can you lead me in that? That's always a great thing I like to say. when you go into a comic book shop, and hopefully you'll have friendly staff that will, hey, they're not going to treat you dumb, or it's not going to be like a hierarchy thing,
Yeah.
I've met more welcome, accommodating people, where I didn't kind of know like whether I was coming back into the world of comic books after I had been out forever, whatever. But like it's a great opportunity to go see new stories. They could be for kids, adult, whatever. I'm sure there's manga out there that some of them kind of blend things,
Yeah.
but comic books, there's a lot out there aside from just Marvel or DC if you want to find it, I guess.
Right.
But you'll never
Yeah.
know if you don't go. But that's I like this day. I think they should do it at least a couple times a year. But
Yeah, and just to shout out Kapow Comic Books a little bit more. Yeah, their staff, everybody there is wonderful, and they all have they're all into comic books, but they all have kind of differing tastes. So yeah, and they have a wall of staff picks of graphic novels and current comic books that each of them recommend. They all each have a shelf to themselves with their recommendations, and then obviously they'll be there. At least one or two of them will be there on staff. So yeah, they're always friendly, always there to recommend. They love to recommend things. They love comic books. So, but yeah, great guys to that love what they're doing, that love to promote it. The cool thing about where they're located in that shopping center, there's some cool places to eat, but there's also an arcade place, an old style arcade called Vortex. That's right next to them or close to them. So if you get your comic books and want to play some old arcade games, you could run over there as well.
very cool. Yeah.
And I think there's also a card shop as well. I'm not into cards, but
No,
but
I
yeah.
do. You're not, but and I'm not necessarily either yet. But joking aside, I should put us back up here. Yeah, like this.
They're also on Facebook, so if you want to reach out to them on Facebook as well.
Yeah, and I'll put all their links out to when we release this interstitial the thing. But yeah, uh I remember, and I need to track it down. When I was a kiddo, middle school, I was really into X-Men. Of course, who wasn't? Whatever age might be different for you, I don't know. But we all kind of have our own nostalgia with the stuff. But I remembered the X-Men trading cards, and so just collecting them. Like that was definitely a very fun aspect of my youth.
Hmm.
So it's just cool. I have no idea about anything nowadays. But yeah, Kapow, like Tom was saying, like always like to mention um, the good folks out there that make it
Yeah.
happen for us.
But yeah, obviously that's if you're in Arkansas. But yeah, anywhere you're located, kind of check
Yeah, I
out.
think
I know some people are unfortunately in a location where they have to drive 2 hours to get to a comic book shop. I feel for them. But there's always there is digital comic books, and then I think if you're not in a location where you could go weekly to a comic book shop, I think
digital's
your
just
best
fine.
bet is probably getting those trade paperbacks. And if you don't want to go to the evil overlord of Amazon, there's a website called cheapgraphicnovels.com that I get my stuff from. That is very cool. If you wanted to, and they always have really deep discounts, even sometimes better than Amazon. They do take longer to get to you. Their shipping's a little bit longer, but it's sort of like that surprise. You forgot that you ordered it. It comes in the mail, and it's almost like a gift to you.
Yeah, I think it's not hard to transition from like, get it now, tomorrow, or this week to maybe next week, maybe the week after. That's really fine, and we'll include that in the links down below as well. But for the most part, this is about kind of finding new things for you to care about or get into, and the trade paperbacks, physical media. I think is something that is very special, and that we as streaming is everywhere, these subscription services everywhere. It's kind of nice to be able to kind of have like a little bit. Everybody can have a little bit of a library, or even a shelf. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Doesn't have to be fancy. It could be stacked this way, gathering dust, or it could be, the other way, horizontally. But the important thing is it's not hard to
Yeah, and
find something cool and that you like to
absolutely.
do something, maybe with find a new storyline. That's always encourage that.
Yeah, and if you're burnt out and say you're tired of Marvel and DC, there's tons and
Indie,
tons of
tons of indie.
indie comic books from Image, Dark Horse, the Robert Kirkman who does The Walking Dead and Invincible. If you haven't read the comic books based
Yep.
on those, they're there. Robert Kirkman's his line is started a they got the rights to Transformers and GI Joe and doing a bang up
Oh,
job
that's
of
right.
getting top quality artists and writers to write and draw those. Really refreshed everything. I've been kind of reading those and enjoying them quite a bit. And I know that the trade paperbacks of the first few issues of the new Transformers is come out. I know our friend of the channel, Jay, he loves the artist of that
Hmm.
Daniel Warren Johnson, amazing artist. But yeah, if you're not into Marvel DC, there's indies and there's also manga. Kapow has a manga. A nice little section of manga. I'm sure your local comic book shop has a nice section
Yeah,
of manga.
I'll shout out mine, Newcastle Comics, off of I think Dorset. I might be wrong on that, but Newcastle. Anyway, it's a really cool thing. But I was going to say too on yours, the fact that. Sorry. Actually, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, the they have a wide range of things. Also, Kapow has like a life size statue of Spider Man. If you want to see that.
Yeah, the comic books are great to get into, and it's not just Batman or Superman or X-Men or whatever.
Right? Yeah,
That,
absolutely.
that's the fun part too, like where you can go and look and see, and maybe you're more digital. I don't know, but there's all
Yeah,
kinds of.
nothing wrong with digital. Well, if you're okay with not owning owning your
Right.
stuff, but yeah, I do have some digital comic books as well. When they're super cheap, like $4 or $6 on Amazon, the evil Amazon, I might grab something that I normally wouldn't get. But yeah, the I guess the main focus of our little show here and Free Comic Book Day is the free comics, unless
Remind
you
me.
have something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we covered this a while ago, but a special treat. And I'm kind of springing this on Tom
Hmm.
as we go. But do you have a comic book handy like near you? And then could you explain
Oh yeah.
the comic code and the versus the issue number or whatever? Because we kind of talked about that a long time ago with Jay, but unfortunately, I never got around to publishing it. But are you down to talk about that or no?
I can. Yeah. Get everything.
Yeah, well, while
Grab
you're
it.
doing that, yeah, I'll filibuster here.
Well, actually, before we get to that, since we're Free Comic Book Day, let's kind of go over the free comic books that are
Oh
available
yeah, yeah, let me.
this on Free Comic Book Day.
I got
But yeah, there's a number of them that I want to pick up. But yeah, the but yeah, yeah. I guess they have like different sections of them. There's the golden ones. I don't know. There's gold and silver and something else. But yeah, I don't know what differentiates them for being golden and silver.
I see a French one. I think Asterix. I see
Uh, yeah,
Conan.
that's one of them that I'm gonna grab. Yeah, normally, my work schedule only allowed me to maybe go during the afternoon after all the cool ones had been snapped up. I know my local one. Uh, they only let you get like two or three of them for free, and then the
Sure.
rest of them, the free ones, they charge you $1, which isn't crazy at all. But yeah, but by the time I get there, they're pretty much all snapped up. But now I should be able to get there right when they open, so I should have a nice selection of them. Of course, Marvel and DC. They kind of introduced their big event comic books. It has like a story that kind of introduces it that's unique to the comic book
They
that you
can, yeah.
can't get anywhere else. I know Marvel's going to be Blood Hunt, their big vampire event, and then DC has like a some big event as well. I don't know. I think it's on there, but there's also a Teenage Mutant. Yeah, that Blood Hunt X-Men #1 is one of the ones from Marvel, and then uh, Robert Kirkman has the Transformer one, the Energon Universe
I
Special
gotta tell
Bundle.
you, I don't know anything about this, but I would buy this just based on
Well, even
uh,
better, it's free.
right.
That one's free.
Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
yeah, and Hellboy has one. Yeah, there's.
Funny Quest, that's kind of cool.
Mhm,
That would be cool to kind of dip into, see what the hell
mhm,
what that's about.
mhm. And then there's that Ultimate Universe Spider-Man one. That's probably going to be covering some new stuff for Marvel underneath
Right on.
Hellboy. But yeah, and that's the gold ones. But yeah, down in silver ones, you got the Conan one that I'm interested
That looks
in.
cool.
Uh,
Delicious.
it looks like they're doing a Flash Gordon comic book. I saw that it's written by Colin Bunn, which he's a good writer, so that could be interesting. And then the one that I'm really looking forward to is that Gotchamon one, which is from Battle of the Planets. The that's my old school uh, anime there. But yeah, it looks like there's some Doctor Who. They always throw in a few for the
Uh,
kiddos.
right.
Yep, and yeah, that's one of the fun things about it is everyone that I've gone to, there's a bunch of parents with their kids there. A lot of
You got Snoopy
kids
too.
there. Yep, Snoopy. Uh,
Romeo and Juliet. Yeah.
but yeah, there's always a bunch of kids there.
Oh,
So
classic bait. Here's
mhm,
Darth, and here's Luke, and here's
mhm,
bait.
mhm,
But maybe it's good. I don't know. The Valiant variant, excuse me, the variant that looks interesting to me.
mhm.
That's kind of the thing. These things kind of pique curiosity,
Yeah,
and you don't know unless you snatch it up and see what you think.
right.
And you can how you can you argue for free, you know. Um,
Yeah.
I know, like where I go, like there's like invariably like a Panera, St. Louis bread company. If you're a diehard here, but all kidding aside, you know, you can go and maybe visit, grab a few titles. I tend to buy in duplicate if it's something I care about, and then I just bag the other one. And that's just old habit. I am not a comic book. I don't claim that at all. It's just kind of I'm already here, and if I have the shekels, I will do that. Otherwise, if I don't, then I'll just buy what I buy and you
Mhm.
know, and then go through and read it. Put it on the shelf first, and then go back and read it.
And if you're not able to get there on a Saturday and they they disappear, they're only available on Saturday. Again, a lot of times those less scrupulous people will start selling them on eBay. They're within their rights to do so, but you know it is what it is. But if you're just wanting to read it, I know that a week or two later, Amazon usually puts them up for free
Mm-hmm.
on Amazon. So you can go back and actually, I believe they're still there. So for the previous year's ones, if you're kind of curious what you get, because a free comic book isn't your regular comic book. It has I think it has fewer pages and kind of whets your appetite for a story. Usually it's a unique story to itself. So maybe it's a prologue to a storyline that's going to be going on, ongoing storyline that's going to be introduced within the next month or two to try to kind of rope you in. But yeah, Amazon usually kind of has those for free later on as well. So if you wanted to read them digitally for free, you could do it there as well.
Well, yeah, shoot, you can even get a good preview of some of these. Actually, very good preview. Looks like
Mm-hmm.
very bit. So good on them for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Good woodwork for the general public. Oh, and you can also probably find some of these comic books too. Probably not all of them. More the more popular ones. Of course, it depends on where you live and how big your library is, but they might have some on hand. You never
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
all the periodicals are always at every library. Might not be at every single one. You know, not every single one has a copy of the New York Times or whatever it is, or the Economist, or GQ, or Batman, whatever. But you can definitely request it through your library service too. So that's a
Yep.
free way to do it as well. And that's a civic thing that we all benefit from. So
Yep.
we're all both fans of libraries and reading. That's kind of the point of what we do a little bit, which is to
Yep.
encourage folks to
Yep.
go
Yep.
get out there and
And
find new things and new media and new types, and see what you think.
yeah. And last week was a big day for me. I got a little bit more than I normally do, so I could kind of go over, like
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
said. Yep.
Special
As
preview here.
as always, I'm a huge Conan fan, so I had to get the newest issue of Conan. Now, those of you that are familiar with our channel, I did a review of Savage Sword of Conan #1 a few weeks ago. We got a great many of viewers. We got 1,000,
Good feedback.
which was very good. We got a lot of comments, so I know that we got some Conan fans out there. So shout out to Conan. Savage Sword #2 comes out this week. So as you're getting your free comic books, maybe pick up Savage Sword #2, and we got let's see, the Image has got the rights to Universal Monsters. They did a miniseries on Dracula, and now they're doing one on the creature from Black Lagoon.
No way. Have you read that one yet?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's
Really? You recommend?
written. Oh yeah, definitely. Dan Waters and Ram V, or as Glenn from the Comic Book Palace says, Ram 5. I don't know how he pronounces his name, but yeah, you got Dave Stewart and Matthew Roberts on the art. Art's awesome. The story's awesome. I
That
really
looks
enjoyed it.
really good.
Yeah,
The artwork,
yeah,
from my point of view, I want to check that out.
yeah. Definitely check it out. And I got so that's some of your indie stuff. Also within the indies, I thought about doing a review of, but I didn't get around to it. It's the second issue of Feral, which is done by Stray Dogs. It's awesome. Stray Dogs is awesome. This is getting to be awesome as well. It's a story. It's a zombie story, but whereas the zombies are rabies-ridden animals in the forest. We got some stray, or well, actually, some house cats that get lost in the forest, and they're being stalked by rabies-infested animals. So it's sort of a zombie cat story.
That's cool. That's cool.
um, and then I got World Tree, which is sort of the dark evil web. There's some sentient beings within the internet that are killing people. Kind of trippy story. If you're kind of a hacker, you might like this,
Interesting.
so to speak. Great storyline. Let's see. And then real quick, we got the old stalwarts. We got the from DC. We got Detective Comics with Batman, and we got Flash. Cysperia's is doing a interesting run on Flash. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people are dropping the comic book
Why? Why?
because of it. It's kind of a more trippy, kind of weird story. Dealing with time. I'm really enjoying it. Let
When
me know
has the
what you think.
Flash never been trippy with time?
I know. Well, yeah. I don't know. But yeah. And then we got a multiverse story of Batman Dark Age, written by Mark Russell and drawn by Michael Allred and colored by his wife Laura Allred. I am a super fan of Michael Allred's art, and this is kind of a different tell of the origin of Batman.
Interesting.
Slightly different than what you're used to,
Hmm.
but I know Glenn from Comic Book Palace hates Allred's art, but I absolutely love it. He says all the characters' faces look the same. I don't agree. I respectfully don't agree.
Right.
Great art, great story. Enjoying it so far. And then right before I get into, let's see, well, I don't really actually have a comic book with that the numbering on it, but just a couple more recommends. I'm reading Wolverine Madripoor Nights. It's a mix up with Wolverine, Captain America, and Black Widow. It's set back
Really?
it's set back in the era when Wolverine was hiding out in Madripoor as Patch. He had that patch and was you know
Oh
disguise.
yeah.
He's all the X-Men were reportedly dead and they're all kind of undercover, and he's in Madripoor hanging out. And this is written by the legendary X-Men writer Chris Claremont. So, and this is issue number 3. So you might want to check that out if you're a big
Great.
Claremont fan.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Claremont is still very well renowned. He's not quite to the point of
Mm-hmm.
like a Zack Schneider, like where there's like a rift.
Yep.
Oh, I was gonna say too, Alan Moore, Frank Miller, also cool
Mm-hmm.
things. I
Mm-hmm.
would say that I'm interested in checking out some older ones, American Splendor, by I can't think of the guy's name. Excuse me.
Uh,
Shame on me.
Harvey Picard.
Yeah, Picor. Yeah, Picar. Picar. Yeah, Harvey
Yep.
Picar. But
He
yeah,
famously was on David Letterman several times. He's always had an awesome interview.
if
Yeah.
you want some, and I'll include some links, so like some classic interviews with him and Letterman. It just draws you in, and like you're in for good things. Anyway, go on.
All right, so the huge recommend this week, and I finally caught up with it. I had to get some of the reprints, which is fine. Which your local comic book shop should have reprints. So if you are not really haven't really been into comic books, kind of iffy, but you don't mind Marvel, you like Spider Man, and you're going in for your free comic book day. They should have copies of this, even if it's sort of like the reprint copies. Is Ultimate Spider-Man.
Okay.
This is written by Jonathan Hickman. I know some people either love or hate
Hmm.
Hickman, but with this comic book, everybody seems to be loving it. Even those that normally hate Hickman are enjoying it. I know Glenn's on the side of hating hating Hickman, but he's reading and loving this. Again, this I forget which edition is. This is the fourth printing of it.
Yeah.
Still an awesome cover. And then I got issue 2. It's all the way up to issue 4. But basically, the Ultimate Spider-Man, the Ultimate series, was back in the early 2000s, I believe it was, and it introduced Miles Morales. He was actually in a different multiverse until he was pulled over into the 616 version of Marvel. So this is sort of like a return to the Ultimates, and I believe this is a different multiverse of it. It's within that whole kind
It
of storyline.
it
Uh,
almost looks like a different style. The thing that comes to mind is it looks kind of manga
well,
esque.
that's
Kind of
misleading. That's misleading because Peach Momoka did this version. This is the third printing of issue 2.
okay.
I mean, issue two's got a third printing. That's kind of
Well,
crazy. And
feels
then,
like it with
yeah,
that third
um,
that character there on the cover.
I'll crack open issue number 1. But yeah. So basically, the storyline. Let's see. Um, you got it's
Jonah
sort of
Jameson. Yeah.
got your more normal. Spoil
Yeah, yeah.
Spoiler alert. That's Uncle Ben. Uh-oh. He's yelling for Parker, and it's not Peter, it's Ben. Ben's working for the Daily Bugle. So basically, what storyline is just kind of TDLR. There was a series before this called the Ultimates, I believe, and it's I could get into the
There's been a few
weeds.
Ultimates.
Yeah, well, the recent relaunch that they've done, Jonathan Hickman's been in charge of it, but to not there's two characters that got pulled from the Ultimates before I think that kind of crumbled, and one was Miles Morales, and then there's an evil Reed Richards called I think the Thinker. I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments if I am wrong. But the he decides he was imprisoned and he got in the beginning of this new relaunch of Ultimates. He escapes out of prison and he goes off into his own multiverse. He finds it, and he decides that he's going to take all the things that make people a superhero before it happens to them, and so that there's no superheroes in that world. So he takes that
Oh,
radioactive spider before it infects or bites Peter Parker, and he takes like the serum from
right,
that would make Captain
right,
America, all of that stuff.
right.
So you got a world full of no superheroes, and so he's in charge of everything. And within that Ultimate series, that it's a good story too if you want to check that out. But what happens is a young Tony Stark defeats uh, defeats the Thinker and decides to return all of the items to the superheroes.
Hmm.
So in this story, uh, not a young Peter Parker, Peter Parker in his, I'd say in his early 30s, maybe late 20s.
Hmm.
He's married to Mary Jane, has two
Hmm.
kids, and Ben is very much alive because he didn't have he wasn't Spider Man and didn't get involved with the whole thing there. Um, and so in this first issue, you kind of learn about him, but he gets a package saying, "Hey, you should have been Spider Man. Here's your powers. It's up to you whether or not you want to become Spider Man." And of
That is
course,
cool.
so 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 of
That
course
is
he
cool. That
yeah
is cool.
so of course he decides, yeah, I'm going to be Spider Man. So it's a an older Spider-Man, but a new Spider-Man in the sense he has no idea of how to use his powers,
That
and he has the symbiote suit, so
that
he's been given the symbiote suit as well.
that's kind of like Superior Spider-Man. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like from a different perspective of,
Mm-hmm.
instead of a poor Peter Parker, you have a Peter Parker with, kind of Stark Industries kind of backing. I'm talking the Superior Spider-Man storyline,
Uh huh.
and you kind of understand like where, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but you
Mm-hmm.
get a different point of view of like how Peter was holding back. That's this sort of thing, and how much more fair, more than fair, he
Mm-hmm.
was with that. So that's really cool. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm instant fan. I'm gonna show up for that. And
Yeah.
probably download them. I have a digital thing. I'm gonna go wreck it
But
digitally.
yeah. But yeah, it's kind of taken the comic book community by storm. Everybody seems to be enjoying that.
Good.
Yeah, it's a definite recommend. And actually, Dan Slott is revisiting the old Suspirier Spider-Man storyline, and has got Doc Ock has teamed up with Spider-Man because
Hmm.
a villain from the past has come back. I won't spoil too much, but yeah, I've been enjoying that. Some people less or so, but I kind of like it. So yeah, no, I'm kind of on again, off again on Dan Slott myself,
Sure.
but he
You still
this
producing?
story, yeah, he's still out there doing it. I don't know how much he's actually writing as opposed to his understudies, but yeah, that's a question that's out there. But yeah, so yeah, maybe some of that might have tempted you to try out some comic books, but yeah, there's definitely stuff out there for you to dip into, no matter what your taste is in comic books.
Yeah, I just wanted to spend a few seconds here to plug our stuff. First, last, Nerdom, primarily on YouTube. This is
Mm-hmm.
Tom's. Tom's. He is the head of the Twitter division, X division. Give him a shout out there if you could, and then tell us what you ended up with on Free Comic Book Day. That'd be great. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, I'll also comment, like, subscribe. We love that. Driving toward 1,000 would be great toward the end of the
Mm-hmm.
year. And of course, and that that's all I'm gonna plug. Other than that, like, tell us what you think. Tell us if you show up. Of course, you'll see this. Well, we'll put it out here shortly. But in any case, I've been Mike.
And I'm Tom. Read a comic book.